Okay, so we're here at beautiful Redwood Castle, the spiritual home of Lex Innocentium. It's the 21st of September 2025, the first anniversary of the launch of Lex Innocentium 21st Century at Redwood Castle. We're here to bury a time capsule, and in our time capsule we have a copy of the law Lex Innocentium 21st Century and a letter to the future telling them about how we care about them and how we care about the earth. So Sean and Frank are going to lower the capsule into the ground. It won't be opened until, we hope, September 21-24, and hopefully Mother Earth will take care of our capsule for us until then.
Dear future generations, we are writing this new law at a time where at least 110 armed conflicts are happening across the planet. We believe there is a real risk that one of these wars will spill over into nuclear warfare. What we call the military-industrial complex is growing, ever more powerful around the world. Governments seem more and more out of touch with their people, and many of us feel we can no longer rely on journalism for the truth. Right now, the Earth herself is dealing with the challenges of climate change, loss of biodiversity, destruction of our ecosystems in her air, soil and water, and the problems associated with dangerous and artificial chemicals, including persistent organic pollutants. We do not know the future, but we are worried. We are worried for you and for the planet, and we hold in trust for you. We want you to know that we, the signatories and subscribers to Lex Innocentium 21st Century, among others, cared about you and our planet Earth. We want you to know that in writing our people's law, we tried to protect you. We hope that you are healthy and well and that you have all you need. We hope that the Earth is healthy and thriving. We hope that you love her as much as we, the signatories and subscribers to this law, do now. Do not succumb to the efforts of vested interests in the war system or of irresponsible and untruthful journalism to make you afraid of each other, to demonise and to blame each other, to hate each other and not to trust each other. Do not become cannon fodder for the military-industrial complex. Be aware that the war system needs the fear-funding cycle to justify itself and to maintain itself. They have brought us to the unfortunate situation in which we find ourselves today. We are now the guardians of our planet and of each other. You must work together as our humanity for the welfare of all humanity and to keep healthy and safe our planet. The planet you now hold in trust for the people who will come after you. We know that peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to cope with conflict by peaceful means. There will always be difference, disagreement and conflict. We hope that in your time you have constructive and peaceful methods of conflict resolution that do not result in the horrors of war and the destruction of our beautiful planet and her living creatures. You are our children, the children of humanity, the children of the earth. We leave you this law as a gesture of our love and of our care for you and for the earth.
Liz has a little box of stones. These are Om stones, and on these stones we have the words Shiachan, peace, Dochas, hope, and Gra, love. And we're going to ask each of you to take a stone in your hand, and while we listen to some nice music, to instill in your stone all of the goodwill that you feel for future generations to come and for our planet. And then we'll each put our stone into the soil with the time capsule as little guardians of the capsule to keep it safe for the future. And maybe while we hold our stones, we'll think of the people in Gaza, the people in Ukraine, the people in all of the other countries where there is suffering and violence, that we will soon put an end to all of this, and for the people in the future that they will never know and never see the horrors that we're witnessing at the moment.
The earth opened out her loving arms when Hind came to earth, as Mother Earth had done when her spiritual sister Anne arrived a century earlier. Maybe they now catch hands across time and space, as spiritual sisters are wont to do. Both loved their families and friends. With great joy and with fun-loving emotional depth, they both shone in their ordinary lives. They loved and serenaded their meaningful lives. Each girl was a keeper of a different wisdom. A great love of life was their crime, as the sadistic lust of death shadowed them both. Fleeing with their loving families was their only hope, but they were followed by the same sophisticated, cruel demon. They asked, "Dear God, what was this madness for?" This pair of doves were left crouching as a hunted species. They had tried to listen less to their fears and more to their dreams, but their beautiful souls were jaded. They were just trying to get home. Wrong ethnic group they both were deemed and sent to get born elsewhere, as the war industry feasted on their agony. Often it was deemed a success to create this depth of misery. The billionaire class entitled themselves to treat these young girls like castaways, and vulgar contempt spat on their heavenly beauty, their meaning and their wisdom. So 5 years to 15-year-old girls were sliced by the knife of hatred by the same elite, ignorant bully. They bade farewell and both were sent into a man-made hell on earth. Yet their legacies will be cherished here in this world. Anne Frank left her great diary for the world, while Hind Rajab bestowed her name to Hind Hall in Columbia University and many parks worldwide. These young girls shall not be forgotten. Yet, it seems the military elite love this game. It brings them gain more worthy of perverse of the hollowed out mind. The young girls wondered why their lives were stolen and they were made die. Left to crouch over the small bodies of sisters as the predator savoured its prey. Was it the usual excuse of being the wrong ethnic group? Hind tried to escape in the family car, while Anne tried to hide in the attic. Haunted by savage attacks on little girls, their weary souls craving only peace as their little bodies rattled exhausted. But in their childlike hearts they had hoped that they could be saved from a fate so insane, and they wondered why a child should die. No sane person could answer why. Now, Makara tried to expose the truths, an unprecedented cruelty with relentless genocide. The depraved values he called out about of a war industry that strangleholds all of our lives. It's as warped could be. But shameful, sadistic lust had found its thirst. Destroy and maim was the name of the game. The usual suspects had come to play. The vulgarity of violence set upon their gentle cultures, like vultures in for the kill. The wickedness of this egregious act to stunt the growth of girlhood youths and cast it to death's wall, yet to halt was not the call. It was as cruel could be. Now Hind Rajab and Anne Frank danced in the same sky above, bestowing dreams of only rainbows, creating a Milky Way of the milk of human kindness in the skies above, in place of bloodied bombs. Hannah Arendt had warned us of the banality of evil, with its coarse stupidity. But the Holocaust merely changed its address.
Lex Innocentium, 21st century, the law. Lex Innocentium 21st century hereby declares that war is a crime against humanity, a crime against the earth, and a crime against the future. In no circumstances will this moral people's law accept justification for war or military aggression, or justification for the preparation for war, or justification for the waste of resources on war.
Inspired by Adam Naun's law, Lex Innocentium 697 AD, and its protection of innocent non-combatants in war, by other pertinent ancient laws, beliefs, traditions and religious teachings, by international laws of our own time, by the UN Charter and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and by the hard work, dedication and sacrifices of peace activists and environmental activists down the years and throughout the world. We, the signatories and subscribers to this new law, Lex Innocentium, 21st century, believe that it is now time to launch this people's law, a moral law, a law of principle, that can be used by individuals and groups to highlight failures of governments around the world, to save humanity from the scourge of war, to call governments and international leaders to account for those failures, and to challenge all those who have a vested interest in the instigation, justification and normalisation of war. We also believe that, given the nature of modern weapons, it is now time to extend protection from the scourge of war to our planet Earth and to the future. We hereby decree.
It is wrong and a crime under this people's law to kill, hurt, harm, or take hostage innocent people in war, military operation or armed conflict. deliberately, consequently, or accidentally, whether a war has been declared or not, or through siege, lockdown, or the cutting off of essential supplies, or through damage to civilian infrastructure.
For the purpose of this clause, the term innocent people will include all non-combatants of all ages and gender, conscientious objectors, and those who walk away from war, violence, or military operations of any kind, aid workers, journalists, and peace activists, all innocents under the law. It is also wrong and a crime under this people's law to kill, maim, or harm the crops, livestock, or domestic animals, including household pets, upon which these innocent people rely for food or companionship.
That innocence under this law will also include innocent witnesses, all those who are troubled, offended, distressed, or traumatized by the harmful impact of war or their fellow human beings on the earth or on the future, caused without their consent and caused against their principles, against their feelings of empathy and compassion, and against their wisdom.
It is wrong and a crime under this people's law to force individuals to commit acts of violence and aggression against their will, their beliefs, or their principles. That it is wrong and a crime under this people's law to harm, injure, or diminish the heart, soul, or spirit of humanity through acts of violence, cruelty, and war.
That it is wrong and a crime to hurt, harm, injure, or damage planet Earth, an innocent under this law, her soil, water, or atmosphere, or any of her wide and varied ecosystems and living creatures, including humanity, whether deliberately, consequentially, or accidentally, through war or aggression, military operation, or armed conflict, or through the manufacture, testing, storing, or decommissioning of weapons of any kind, including traditional explosive weapons, chemical weapons, biological weapons, nuclear weapons, and weapons yet to be invented.
It is wrong and a crime under this people's law to threaten, put at risk, or harm future generations of humanity, or the future welfare of the earth, her soil, water, or atmosphere, or any of her wide and varied ecosystems and living creatures, all innocents under this law, whether deliberately, consequentially, or accidentally, through war or aggression, military operation or armed conflict, or through the manufacture, testing, storing, or decommissioning of weapons of any kind, including traditional explosive weapons, chemical weapons, biological weapons, nuclear weapons, and weapons yet to be invented. Decommissioning can be extremely toxic. Every care must be taken in the decommissioning of weapons to avoid harm. Given their toxicity, it is better not to make such weapons in the first place.
That it is wrong and a crime under this people's law to spend money and resources on war, including the stockpiling of weapons. It is wrong and a crime under this people's law for any individual group, business, manufacturing, enterprise, or government to assist and abate or facilitate the harms and injuries listed in this law on the innocents protected by this law. For the purpose of this law, facilitating will include ignoring and failing to try and end the harm through mediation, negotiation, and peaceful means.
Given the indefensible nature of modern warfare and the destructive nature of its weaponry, defence can no longer justify engagement in war or military aggression of any kind, or the military-industrial complex, including the arms industry and all other associated institutions. In its protections, Lex Innocentium 21st century renders modern warfare impossible without breaking this law, and thus necessarily rejects the just war theory. This law thus declares that war, in any circumstances, whether declared or not, is a crime against humanity, a crime against the earth, and a crime against the future.